Ni hao, wahanen, I believe is what Anthony Edwards said when he entered China. I'm sure you guys have all seen the clip by now. It's gotten millions of views across all social media. Um, Anthony Edwards is in China on a press tour. Um, I think that's the only reason he's out there. The Anthony Edwards 2, the AE 2 got revealed by Adidas this week. He's out there showcasing it. He's put out some sick commercials. But he's really just showing love to fans out there. And to me, it's kind of proof that he's going to be the next guy to kind of transcend basketball and be a global star. Um, I don't think a lot of people are considering him to be a superstar quite yet. They're calling him an all star. He's a superstar through and through. He's taken a young market that isn't super popular and he's making it known. And he's got his second shoe now. He's going to be top five in All Star voting, not All Star voting, in MVP voting this year. Probably be top five in All Star voting, if we're being honest. Uh, and everyone out there in China loves him. And he's hilarious. I mean, Anthony Edwards has always been an absolute star when it comes to humor. I'm sure if you guys have seen Hustle, the Adam Sandler movie on Netflix, he's hilarious in it. He is absolutely hilarious. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It really shows off his personality, and if acting is something he wants to take up later in his career after he's won the Timberwolves 2 to 3 titles, I'd be fine with that. But only after 2 to 3 titles can he, kind of take a hiatus, maybe to do some acting. Uh, he's a great guy. He's an okay guy off the court. I take that back, but I really am loving to see him kind of enjoy being a star in the NBA, and what he's been doing in China is hilarious, and I hope he keeps it up. And I hope I said what he said correctly when I started this episode. But that's kind of it on that, guys. Like, dead heat of summer. Let's get into it. Like, we're coming out of summer. Labor Day weekend's coming up. We've made it. We've just got a little bit further to go before the NBA season. So what if we traded Rudy? You know, like that's where the head's always at. The head is always thinking about trading Rudy. That'd free up some cap space, possibly. Not a ton with how I have this working out, but we would be sending Rudy to the Bulls, who have a little bit of cap room to work with. They wouldn't after taking on Rudy's giant contract, but that's what they are known for. You know, they're not a team who's going to go out and be a 4 seed or higher. Like, they're not even going to be higher than a 7 seed, if I'm being honest with you. But what if we took on Vooch's expiring contract, because we know we got some young guys we're going to have to pay. So we let Vooch come in. He's serviceable. He's very good still. What if we bring him in? He hops on, plays the center position starting. Nas backing him up, of course. Baron J right there behind him. And we don't only get him, but we get a defensive wing guard type player in Ayo Dosunmu, who might honestly have a Nickeil Alexander-Walker bump on this type of team. That's kind of the type of player I see him as, like being able to become, but he's on the Bulls, and the Bulls aren't known for developing their guards right now. Like, they're just not doing stuff right over there. So let's bring him in. And then, just for the sake of getting another guy, I also had Yuki Kawamura on this trade. He's on a 2-way contract, and he could stay that way. But, I mean, he's another young point guard who could come in and find his place on the Timberwolves team, possibly. So that's the trade. I also have us sending them the first that we have is in a swap with San Antonio this last year, or this next year. And then we would be getting a pick back from them, and we're also sending them 2 seconds. So all in all, we're saving a bit on the books. We're saving about 190 on the books over the course of however long with Rudy's contract. And then we're getting a player who is better offensively than Rudy, but worse defensively than Rudy. And then a young guard in Kawamura. And then a young kind of 2-way wing guard player in Dosunmu. I like that trade option a lot for us. I feel like we're just going to make a move this season if stuff isn't going our way. It feels in the cards. Like, yeah, we're bringing in a ton of new stuff to the organization as a whole. We got to start with the players. If we're going to go all in, which we are currently, this is the last year we're going to be able to do that. So it will be interesting to see what the new owners decide to do if things aren't looking the way they want them to come February when the trade deadline rolls around. You know what I mean? Like if we're looking at shaking up, they fired a ton of people inside of the organization, side of marketing, sales, like that side of things. The next place you start to look is cutting some cap room so that you can kind of shuffle some pieces around and reevaluate where you are as at a team. And I think this would be a great option. Like getting rid of Rudy's massive contract frees up some future stuff for us. Vooch is expiring. We don't have to sign him back. We could and probably should. He's a good center. But Baron Jay's right there. So if we only signed him on for another year or two with an option to get rid of him in that second one, I think that's a viable option for us. Rudy's contract doesn't give us a lot of outs. So finding an out somewhere before he starts costing $50 million is it's gonna have to happen. Unfortunately, Rudy won't be a Timberwolf forever. That's just the way the NBA is anymore. The amount of guys who will be a one jersey guy by the end of their career, I think you could put them on two hands right now, and that's not even true because I thought Luka would be a Maverick for life. Should have been a Maverick for life, but they got rid of him because they were thinking he can't lose weight. The dude's 25, 26 years old. If you don't think he could lose weight because he doesn't want to, you're wrong. I mean, look at James Harden. He's on Ozempic, then he's 400 pounds. Like, that's a joke, obviously. He doesn't actually get that big, but I don't get that still. But that's besides the point. The one jersey guys are far and few between. If you think Rudy's going to be a two jersey guy, you're wrong. He's probably going to be a three jersey guy, a four jersey guy by the time his career's up, which is only a few, I don't know, let's say generously 6 more years in the league, and that's being generous. He's probably got this contract and one more, and that's kind of it for Rudy. So let's get ahead of the curve, which is what Tim Conley's very good at doing. He's very good at staying ahead of the curve and not letting these guys kind of falter on and wear out before and overstay their welcome, if that makes a lot of sense. Let me know what you guys think of this trade. I think this would be a great option for the Timberwolves all around. Just makes a lot of sense in terms of the books and the players we'd be getting back for a player like Rudy Gobert. And then we got to talk about Finch too. If we're talking about the team and reevaluating where we're at, we got to start looking at where Finch is at. Now, obviously, I know there's not a lot of coaches out there who have gone to back-to-back Western Conference Finals and lost both. But how many coaches out there have done that? Not a ton. Also, not a little. But what is the guy's ceiling? Is it the team that makes the player or the team that makes the coach? Or is it the coach that makes the team, you know? Like, we've watched this guy blow games in regular seasons, but he excels in some postseason stuff, but also he doesn't. Like, our series with the Thunder was disgusting, and a good coach gets his players to rally a little harder than a 5-game series after going 4-4-5 or whatever it was. Like, that fifth one should not have been or whatever series that number that was. That would have been the third series. We went 4-0, no, 4-1, 4-1, and then 1-4. Like, a better coach does something about that. We don't go out like that, you know. I would love to see a guy like Mike Malone come in and coach. I don't think he got a fair shot in Denver there towards the end. He brought him a championship, and Jokic probably said he didn't like the guy and the moves that he was making with the roster in terms of playing time, so they got him out of there. I think they were also trying to protect the guy they wanted to replace him anyways, because they were going to get him poached for sure in the next coaching carousel here. So let's get ahead of it before we end up with someone like Doc Rivers. If Finch isn't going to be the guy this season and we can't at least make the finals this next season, you got to start with the coach. You got to change the culture somewhere, because at the end of these games late, we've blown leads. We've blown 20-point leads. We've blown more than that under him. We've come back from 20-point deficits as well. But those late games get sketchy with him. I watched several this last season, and it's just questionable what he does. It doesn't. It's not a ringing endorsement to be like, I trust this guy late in the stretch with our roster. This is a roster where that's inexcusable. I've watched games where Ant doesn't touch the ball in the last play. What is that? He's your best player. He's a generational talent, and you don't have him touching up inbound pass at all with like 5 seconds and under to go. That's who I want taking the shot through and through. I don't care. Anthony Edwards takes the shot, and you draw it up for him. Even if they're expecting it, That's how that goes. Plain and simple. Plain and simple, if you ask me. Finally, the guy who could probably fix this all for us, um, he's coming in. Um, I saw on Twitter before recording this episode, good friend, former Gopher Parker Fox. He was talking about who could they bring in, as this new CEO, and he's saying it's gonna be a crazy, crazy option. A lot of the everything I'm hearing from him is that they're going out there. Like Lore and Arod are not afraid to take a shot and do something crazy and go all in. They're going all in on the CEO. They fired people in sales, marketing. They're culling the herd and kind of getting rid of some bloating, I would assume, in terms of the organization. And they're going to bring in a new CEO who wants change, and he's going to want change now, or she. They're going to want change. Let's say, don't know the gender of the CEO. Fine with either. Just do the job well. But I'm fine with it as long as they just kind of right the ship a little bit in terms of some of that stuff. I'll be curious to see who it is. I am. I'm very curious. I have no guesses. As long as KG's number gets retired by them and the ownership, I don't got a problem with who it is. Not a single problem. Do that one thing for me, and we'll be best buddies. I will buy tickets forever. But with that, that's kind of the end of the episode. Um, Random Timberwolf to end today's video. I don't know. He's not that random, but let's go with Jeff Teague. Shout out Jeff Teague. One time he scored as many points as he scored as many points as Klay Thompson, but on like 500 more dribbles or something like that. So shout out Jeff Teague for just being a ball handler. That's pretty much it. Take care, guys. See you guys next time.